Hey guys, Ryan here. Hope you all had a great Christmas and New Year. Now for today's video, I need to rip on Bandai a bit. I don't feel good about this. I've obviously been an avid supporter for a couple decades now. Many of their products have made me very happy, and I believe that their legacy line over the past 5 years has given us many reference quality products which will be hard to beat. But I can't deny that the compromises that they always have made have reached fever pitch over the last 2 years. So really I'm hoping that someone from Hasbro who either designs the toys or looks after the money will see this, and it'll help them understand how not to do a Power Rangers toy line. Today we're looking at 5 things the ninjasteel toy line got wrong. Number 5, Ninja Stars. So for 3 years there, the morphin gimmick could be used as part of the Zord line. Bandai America pioneered this in Super Mega Force, doing something with the keys that wasn't present in Gokaiger. Then over the next 2 years of Dino Charge, Bandai America slimmed down what Bandai Japan had already started, and they made the Dino batteries fit in the Dino Zords. For ninjasteel, once again, Bandai Japan had served up the morphing gimmick as a Zord gimmick on a silver platter, and yet this time Bandai America said no. Now I think we can all admit that the Japanese Ninja Stars were quite bulky. That was because each one contained sound effects. When used as a kind of hat or helmet on the Megazord and the Megazord's face, they emitted sounds which annoyingly couldn't be switched off and led to flat batteries for a lot of people. However, we knew we weren't going to get sound effects to begin with. But the fact that Bandai America decided to change the Ninja Stars for the Megazord and make them toy-only versions which wouldn't work in the morphers was quite disappointing. The big difference they had to make was going from hard to soft plastic, or this kind of foamy, spongy material, the one that basically won't cause damage if you get hit in the face with it. It seemed like Bandai America weren't quite sure how best to do this, in that the first wave of Ninja Stars looked completely different to the second. That first wave that was released around Black Friday and Thanksgiving was later deemed a bit of a collector's wave, but they're not very good. It's not like back in the 90s where the Megazord sword would go from chrome to a rubbery plastic. This was actually starting bad and getting slightly better. From the second wave onwards, they actually released a little bit of textured detail onto the outside of the stars to match what had already happened in Japan. I feel kind of bad for Bandai America because I think maybe they were trying to get on the whole Nerf gun craze by making the Ninja Stars that safe foam, but then they didn't release anything that could fire them more than 2 feet. They also tried quite a few different release versions. Firstly, they tried to play on the Ranger Key nostalgia gimmick by releasing former teams of Rangers on the Ninja Stars, but then in Super Ninjasteel they changed the packaging a bit more cheaply and gave them all a theme, and apparently each star could do something different. I didn't buy any, so you'll have to let me know if that was true or not. Number 4, inconsistent figures. In a sense, the 4th and 5th year of the Bandai Action Hero mold have given us some of the best quality figures we've had. There's ratcheting arm joints and turning wrists. The girls have slits in their skirts which enable much better leg posability. The starting mold is pretty amazing, but they didn't really help themselves because it was very difficult to get the female figures to begin with. Here in England, the Pink Ranger figure was a supermarket exclusive. It was just weird. It was Bandai's assault on female figures continued. It was also weird that in the first Toys R Us exclusive 6-pack you got both girl figures on the team, but in the second one they replaced one of them with Gold Ranger. Now I know we've not had a 6-pack with all 6 Rangers in since the days of Robo Knight in Megaforce. They also never released the 3rd Red Ranger. I believe Mick got his release in the Toys R Us exclusive Super Ninjasteel pack, but the dad never got his figure. They also seemed to start hating on the Yellow Ranger as time went on. We saw Red and Blue got those armoured figures very late on. We also had re-releases of the Red, Blue and Gold Ranger adorned with the Lionfire armour. I believe in the show the Yellow Ranger does actually use the Lionfire armour as well, but still, they didn't give him one. Then there's the training mode figures. They did not all get released. Distribution remains a problem. Here in England we never actually got the Gold Ranger in his regular Power Ranger outfit. We just got various versions of him in the cockpit mode and the Lionfire mode. It's quite frustrating because I feel like Hasbro's action figures are not going to be as posable as Bandai's, but Bandai's were so hard to find. and I know that Hasbros are probably going to end up everywhere. Number 3, the first year Zords. So, what did they do with the auxiliary Zords in Ninja Steel? There was supposed to be the elephant, the UFO, the dinosaur, the surfer. I think that's it. Is that it? Anyway, 2 of them got released, but to get them, you had to buy a repainted version of the Ninja Steel Megazord. Just why? So they tried out the repaint gimmick during Dino Charge, but what I liked about that was it was totally optional. You didn't have to buy them if you didn't want them. For Ninja Steel, they made it so you would miss out on key parts of the Zord line if you didn't buy the repaints. That's cruel. Then there was the Lionfire Fortress, but I think, as you know from my top 5 worst Zord builder compromises video, I've said quite a lot about that one already. To summarise though, the scale of it was totally wrong. The price was ridiculous, the appearance was terrible. I think that one, more than any other, was acknowledged as a bit of an own goal, and prices on that just seemed to spiral out of control in a kind of race to the bottom. It also meant that what should have been the Ultra Zord of the season looked terrible, and the 6 Ranger Megazord wasn't given a proper place to clip on, despite it actually having one in Japan. Number 2, second year Zords. So they did release one dinosaur for Super Ninja Steel, but it was not the one that they were supposed to. The final 3 Zord releases under Bandai's reign reek of being these abandoned concepts that Bandai decided to push out in the hopes of wringing the sponge dry once and for all. I can't in my heart of hearts believe this was the original plan for Super Ninja Steel going into it. Why would it be? It's awful. It's inconsistent. You could say inconsistency is the whole theme of the Ninja Steel Zord line, and that kind of gave Bandai carte blanche to do whatever they wanted with the final year under their control. So we got a gorilla, a tiger, and a dinosaur. None of them transform, and if you try and use the latter 2 as arms, they'll actually pull your Megazord down because they can't be raised without being too heavy for the toy they're attaching to. So yeah, don't use them as arms, don't know why you'd want to anyway. They probably would have made much better legs for Megazords, and they do kind of remind me of the Triceratops and Saber-Tooth Tiger Dinozords from Season 1. Yes, I appreciate the irony that that Saber-Tooth Tiger wasn't a dinosaur either, but there's no clips for that, there's no option for it, so destabilizing arms it is. Then there was the Gorilla Room Guard, which when it was released was more expensive than any of the combining Megazords. Don't know why. It quickly fell though, and at one point over Christmas, I think Black Friday, it was down to £15. I know in America people have been finding it for about $20, so pretty much the same as well. Again, it's something that doesn't appear on the show, it doesn't combine, it doesn't transform. I don't know why this thing has been badged up as a Power Rangers toy. From the first images I thought, oh, maybe it's based on the one from Wild Force, that would kind of tie in with the 10th anniversary. With those first 2 Zords reminding me so much of Mighty Morphin and that Gorilla reminding me so much of Wild Force, I feel like there's something here, there's something that was maybe a half-developed idea, it never got finished, maybe the person got told to wrap it up, just get them out as Zord Builder compatible, just throw a Zord Builder port on there. It didn't seem like there was even any time to add transformation features. It is just sad that those will be Bandai's final 3 Zords. There's one that I'm mostly going to let them off on though, and that is the Blaze Megazord, what would end up being Bandai's final combining Megazord. Anytime there's a Megazord comprised of 6 Zords, I think you've got to give it a little more respect. This one, they hilariously started out by providing the deluxe Ninja Mecha figure toy image to a lot of online retailers. So that's pretty bad. But apart from stubbier headgear, there being fewer orange translucent plastic accents, and there being just an assortment of pegs sticking out of the shoulders, this is a pretty fair compromise to the Ninja original. When it finally went half price, I had to buy one just out of acknowledgement that this is it for Bandai America, the end of a long road. And the top thing the Ninja Steel toy line got wrong, quality. Quality went up and down during Ninja Steel. Paint apps were something that I think really let them down. That's nothing new, sure, but I think especially on the villain figures, you really noticed it. They just seemed cheaper than the ones that they were putting out during Dino Charge and Dino Supercharge. Then there were the bike figures. Just no. The late armoured figures of red and blue were trapped in a pose. And even with our pal the Blaze Megazord toy, the Red Eagle Zord has no proper clips. It just uses friction to stay on top of the Megazord, which is not really a solution. One of the roleplay items was even deemed too dangerous for kids, so that was a great way to go out for them. Ninja Steel's second half into the first bit of Super Ninja Steel seemed to be Bandai experimenting, or possibly reacting to the writing being on the wall that they were done. They gave us what I consider to be the nicest packaging upgrade we've had in the Power Rangers main line in years. Roleplay items in the Legacy line also had their packaging simplified in quite an elegant, classy way. That was before everything unfortunately started going grey, those silver anniversary boxes, which I don't think were very good. The boxes in the main line though were perfect. It made you realise just how long we've been having red boxes, but it was all too little too late. I believe it was doing the 2017 movie line and the Legacy line and the main TV show line that stretched Bandai just a little too far. The quality on everything just seemed to take a dive, and it was probably for that reason why Saban was happy for the relationship to finally lapse. When the new movie wasn't quite the mega hit they probably wanted, I think that tapered their enthusiasm, and that led to the sale. So here we are going into 2019 trying something new. Saban is still involved, and that worries me for the TV show. But the toys, I'm very optimistic about. I'm very excited to see how Hasbro treat this brand. They've obviously got 2.5 decades of toys to look back on and see what worked and what didn't. They've also probably got loads of key people already working there that have worked on Transformers and superhero action figures. Power Rangers is in a really good place now, and I'm very excited to see what this year has to hold. I just hope we don't ever have another toy line like Ninja Steel. It is a shame that Ninja Steel will be known as Bandai America's final toy line. I don't want to rip on them more than I already have because, you know, sometimes the grass is always greener and all that, and once I'm sure the Hasbro honeymoon is over, people will be calling out for Bandai toys in some ways. So let's just leave it here, acknowledging that we've had 2 years of quite subpar toys. But let's just hope that whatever Hasbro have got cooking in the oven will be enough to draw in scores of new fans and also satisfy the old ones, eh? That's it then for this one. Thanks for all your comments. Thanks to everyone that entered the 24-hour Christmas giveaway. It was Alex Savas that was the first name drawn and Geek Reviews that was the second. It was actually really fun, and hopefully I'll be able to do another one soon. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. So guys, what are your hopes for the Beast Morphers toy line 2019 and beyond? Let us know in the comments, and also if there's anything else that you spotted in Ninja Steel that wasn't quite right. Until next time, see you later.